Welcome back, everyone. I'm so glad to see you made it back here safely from your teleportation. Hello, Patriotic. I got your message about sending out the family group text about the new time because we're going to be on Pacific time now or Mountain time. It's not really clear, except Las Vegas is 3 hours behind East Coast time right now because they may or may not abide by daylight savings, maybe Pacific time, maybe Mountain time. I'm not really sure, except I can do the math. And in Las Vegas right now, it is almost 1 p.m. because it is 3:51 p.m. here on the East Coast. So I can do the math. So I got the message that you're sending out the family group message about watching the new trial, except it's going to be 3 hours later. I don't know if they start at 8:30 in the morning or 9, but either way, we'll be here 11:30 or noon on the East Coast. And it's kind of exciting for us to be able to sleep a little bit later and to be able to cover this trial that's happening on the West Coast. There's another crazy trial going on right now out of Florida. I just couldn't do it. I couldn't go back to Florida again, you guys. I had to go to Vegas. It's another stand your ground case. And jury selection is starting today on that. I just couldn't cover it. It's a woman in her late 50s who shot and killed a neighbor through her door with her gun because she says she was in fear for her life and her kids were playing too loudly outside. If anybody knows the name of that case, you can tell me, but it was a choice between that one and this one, and we're going to Vegas, babies. Viva Las Vegas. We're going to Vegas. We're going to watch Rob Telly's try and convince a jury that he's being framed by Compass Real Estate, who coincidentally, he says, the best example of that, of DAs being corrupt because people donated to them, to their campaigns, was Paris Hilton. So I guess we talked about that a little bit earlier today, and it caused a bit of a kerfuffle in the chat with a viewer who wasn't exactly nice. And that is why we made a new boarding pass emoji. And I'm going to put it in the chat for you so you can see it, in honor of Scott, or who he's now calling himself Albert's Bulkhead Doors, I think. Or did you change it, Scott? And Team Brittany. Boarding passes are always available. This is not an airport. You do not have to announce your departure. We also, because look how creative I got during the little break of our stream, have a Boss Baby emoji because I'm convinced Robert Telly's lives up to his nickname of Boss Baby and looks kind of like him. We also have the giant straw hat for the giant straw hat that was being worn by the perpetrator who took the life, very sadly, of investigative reporter Jeff Gearman, who may or may not be Rob Telly's, because innocent until proven guilty, as always. And look, here we are in Vegas, and we don't have a fan to look at, but we have the seal of the state of Nevada. We'll take it. At least it's not going to make us nauseous like that fan did in Norfolk, Mass. Who knows when we'll be going back to Norfolk? Oh, there was somebody who got a boarding pass during intermission. Really? Oh, trolls are out. Oh, I also have a troll emoji, and I made that for the Karen Reed trial, but he's still there. Here, I'll show you the troll emoji so you can feel free to use that. You know, troll boarding pass would be a cute one. I miss the fan too. We got to see the fan again for a little bit on, was it Friday, when I covered the Karen Reed motion hearing with Mark Betterow? And that was some good stuff. We should have a slot machine to look at instead of the good one. Slot machine. I was going to do the Vegas sign, and I had that one in the works before I had to come back on here, but a slot machine would be a great one. Or, like a craps table, because this might just be a whole lot of crap. Thank you, Lori Life 360 for the win, for gifting 5 memberships. You're always such a generous benefactor to this channel, so very philanthropic where this channel is concerned, and I love you with all of my heart. Thank you, thank you. Hi, Kimmy. Thanks for the Canadian 5. After this trial, can you look into Franklin Tyrone Tucker? Is he being is he trying himself again? Trying himself? Didn't he act as his attorney? Is that the treehouse guy? I thought his case was dismissed. I don't know what happened with that, Kimmy. But I'm always up for a good trial. This is our palate cleanser. We're calling it our palate cleanser because after Ashley Benefield and Karen Reed, we needed something a little bit lighter, something that may be a bit more of a slam dunk. Thank you. Thanks, Alita. And something that may restore our faith in prosecutors and perhaps the judicial system as a whole. So many of you said after the Ashley Benefield verdict, you were devastated and you didn't want to watch trials anymore. So I'm here to convince you that you can still watch trials. We're going to do it. We're going to do it. It was a hung jury in the Treehouse guy, the Franklin Tucker case. Oh, so is he going to represent himself again? They're retrying him? Oh boy. Oh boy. They're retrying him. Laura says Telly's is like a refreshing orange sherbet. Yeah, it's a palate cleanser, all right. It is. Lemon sorbet, I think, is what some of the famous chefs use in New York City as a palate cleanser. Lemon sorbet. They are retrying him. Wow. This judge is a breath of fresh air. I agree. Thank you, Tracy Burns. It was a mistrial. Did not watch that case because I think I was knee deep in, I don't know, Karen Reed. I'm not sure what was going on at that time. But we were doing pretrial in Karen Reed since January. So when I follow a case, it's like single thread. There's some creators, and I respect them so much that they can cover like 5 different cases a day, or at least like 2 a day, different ones, and go back and forth and go back and forth. I don't know. I don't have the bandwidth for that. I like to do something and do it thoroughly and kind of stick with it. So thank you. Thank you, Polly, for always choosing my channel and loving my commentary. Thank you so much. Oh, you outsmarted YouTube, Christina. Good for you. If you figure out how to do it, let me know. Oh, he was arrested for DV and triggered again, Prince Lover? You're saying Treehouse guy? Wow. Kelly Campbell loves the gifting of membership. So nice. It is so nice, isn't it? People are so generous. There are so many nice people out there. And here's like one of my mantras anyway. It's this: be nice or leave. Ain't no time to hate, said the Grateful Dead. And we're not doing it here. We're not tolerating the hate, the vitriol, and the personal attacks. We're not. It's my channel, and it's my channel. I can do what I want to. And that's why Scott and Team Brittany have boarding passes, as do my other amazing moderators who are here today. Little Cupcake, Scott Messerschmidt. I don't know who else is here. Black Rose, I think, is here too, right? Black Rose? Yeah. Patriotic Act says exactly more law and order, less alleged corruption. All we want is for the laws to be followed by those charged with administering laws. Sheesh, like it's so hard. Like it's so hard, right? Thank you. Thank you, Mrs. Dr. Esther Edward Moskowitz. Love this channel. Thank you. Love to you too. Prayers to you. I'm thinking of you. Kimmy, no, he's accused of murder in the airport in Florida. Who? Franklin? Tyrone Tucker? Wait, I thought that was the trio. I'm so confused, Kimmy. I don't know. It's a different case? We're off on 3 or 4 or 5 different tangents. Who's the woman right now who's, that's it, Susan Lawrence, yep. Case where the neighbor was shot and is also busy with, I couldn't. Lizelle Van Heerden, I could not handle any more cases in Florida. I could not do another stand my ground case, but I think it's going to be interesting. She shot her neighbor through a closed door. Her neighbor was banging on her door because this woman, Susan Lawrence, allegedly had been yelling at the neighbor's kids that they were too loud. And apparently she had said a lot of racial things to her too. And she was always screaming at those kids. And it was, I don't know, it's going to be interesting, but we're going to see Cyndi Lauper in Vegas. That's where we're going. Thank you, Prestige World. How are you, my dear? It's been a while. Thanks for the 20. My guess is that those that cover multiple trials don't have 5 kids. Yeah, I'm the goat. Thank you. Thank you. I don't know. Emily's a mom. She's got kids, I think, that are still in school. I mean, still in younger. And I know Peter has kids too, but they're able to do it. I don't know. I just don't have the attention span, maybe. And also, I don't know. But God bless them if they can do it. And I love them both. And I think they both do amazing work. And I know we have a lot of crossover viewers. So that is amazing. Thank you. Thank you, Prestige Worldwide. And thank you, Cindy Moore 13, for becoming a member. Welcome. 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 Thank you. Thank you, John Little, who is not a John Little that's related to me. He says I'm a breath of fresh air and love the flowers in the background. Thank you. Thank you so much. Oh, here. Laura says, everyone check your subscriptions. YouTube is at it again, taking people off. Also, make sure that you have notifications permitted on your phone from YouTube. You have to go into your settings, go into YouTube and say allow notifications, because sometimes that could be why you're not getting notifications. But they also sometimes just unsubscribe people randomly, and that's pretty weird. Okay, Kayla Burke, hello, welcome. We did 2 shows to prep for this, so we have some background information for you. If you'd like to go watch those later, you're going to get some lead up as to what's going on here, some information on the First Amendment rights that were at play with regard to the decedent journalists' devices and whether or not they were allowed to be searched and had to be turned over. And I think they're going to discuss that perhaps at this hearing that we're going to hear about right now. They may go right into jury selection today. I don't know how long it's going to take. Jury selection. Rara Monty says notification from YouTube never shows up till you're no longer live. That's really weird. That's really weird. Maybe like sign out of YouTube on your device and then sign back in. I don't know. That's what I always do when things don't work for me. I need Kurt of the Tiny Desk to come and work with me. Thanks, Cindy. I did thank you already. Yep. Let's stay in Vegas. Patricia, we're staying there. I like this seal. I like the seal of the state of Nevada. The Great Seal of the state of Nevada. It says all for our country. There's like a log cabin and a train going over a bridge. And I don't know what that, it looks like kind of like a swing set over here. I'm sure it's not. I'm sure it has to do with, and this looks like wheat. Are these things that Nevada is known for? I don't know. Nope. That's what Christine says. Just a YouTube thing. Can't rely on notifications at all. Nope. And it's Craig. Did I say Kurt? Ah, it's Craig. It is so Craig. It's Craig Bates. I did a show with him. He came on my show. It's Craig of the Tiny Desk Fairy Raven. I can't believe I misnamed him if that's true. Because I love Craig so much. The Canton Nine charges have been dropped. Did that happen today? Did that happen today? That's exciting news. Here it is. Patriotic coming in with the deets. Speaking of First Amendment, I heard that charges against the Canton Nine have been dropped after leaving those poor people hanging in limbo for about 9 months. Yeah. Well, that's appropriate, isn't it, for Norfolk County? Isn't it? 9 people, 9 months, no big whoop. Nobody's got to get on with their lives or anything. Figure out if they're going to be charged with, I don't know, standing outside somebody's pizzeria across the street and holding up signs, witness intimidation. Massachusetts has the weirdest witness intimidation law, which I'm sure our friend Mark Betterow will be fighting to change as he joins the defense team of a journalist who is facing some charges in that same great state of Massachusetts. So there's that. Loving the new emoji. Do you like the boss baby emoji, Jen? I get so creative on Canva sometimes. Thanks, Kelly. Says this feels like it's going to be a great case to watch with you. I'm so here for this judge. And I've heard from so many of you that live in Las Vegas area and who practice there as attorneys who say that she's really like the nicest, coolest judge. And we looked at her picture on the court website this morning and it is so 1980s, like big hair, like she's owning it. She's been on the bench for 22 years. She was appointed, I think, in 2002. And She's a pistol. I really like her. Magestacker says, "The swing set is a mining bridge to dump the ore." Thank you, 'cause my my eyes are not that great. It's not that big on my screen, and okay, there it is. I knew it was something like that. Alright, so there's ore happening here, a mining bridge, and then, of course, one of the great railroads in the background, and some beautiful mountains. Beautiful mountains. Everything always kinda goes back to the Grateful Dead for me, and, I remember seeing the Grateful Dead at UNLV sometime maybe in the early '90s. That was an amazing show, and I also remember seeing Jerry Garcia Band in Lake Tahoe in a casino in a really small place that had those cool, like, half-round booths, and it was like a dinner show. It was so cool. Oh, those were the days, my friends. Those were the days. Antoinette is in South Africa. It's 22 hours here. What time does the trial start? Well, there's gonna be a hearing, and it's gonna start it was supposed to start 7 minutes ago, but we're here for it, and we're just waiting, which would be 1 p.m. Las Vegas time, 4 p.m. Eastern, and a little bit later for you in South Africa. We are a worldwide channel, so if you guys are international or really from anywhere, just tell us where you're from. Put it in the chat. It's a very friendly chat here. Kimmy from Canada says, "Yes, in jail, 7 years. Video of corrupt judge." Rhonda, thanks for becoming a new member. Magnolia Gypsy, testing, testing, testing. Checking memberships. It says you're a member for 5 months. Sugar Mags, that's what it says. Sarah Curelop, thank you so much for becoming a new member as well. We have a lot of new members here. We're gonna have to do members only soon. Usually I do them around the full moon because everybody starts to get a little bit crazy in the full moon, during the full moon. So we sort of like to get together and, share stories. Share stories. True Crime Kangaroo. Hi. I got your email. I'm gonna respond to you, I promise. I'm just so super swamped. But thanks for tuning in. And maybe you'll see me soon on her channel. It's just a time thing for me right now, True Crime Kangaroo. It's just really it's a crazy time. It's back to school. How many terabytes was turned over? In the Long Island serial killer case, they turned over something like 8 terabytes of information that had to do with photographs and everything. This has to do with the privileged and non-privileged information. Actually, the non-privileged information that was on the decedent, Jeff Gehrman's devices that they fought about for a long time. There was a lot of litigation about this, about whether or not the defendant should be entitled to certain things that were on his devices that may be exculpatory. Those things were allowed to be reviewed by the employer, the Las Vegas Review Journal. Las Vegas Review Journal, I think it's called. And they then turned over what they deemed to not be privileged. And now this attorney wants Telus to waive his right to any more of the information on those devices. Both sides agreed only 2 devices would be searched. Wow, this is the first time we've seen Rob Tellis in court without his jail uni on. He's wearing a black suit, white button-down shirt with what looks like a tab collar and a yellow and white striped tie for those of you who are listening while you're either driving or cleaning. Interesting. Big smile on his face. Boss baby. They keep cutting out the sound. That's not me. Why? Maybe it'll come back on. This is with regard to they were going to delay the trial so that they could review all of this material, but he specifically did not want to delay the trial. He was given that option. Why did they cut the sound? All right, hoping it comes back. There was sound, but it just cut off. No, I'm sharing it. It's Law and Crime that cut it off. Oh, you never heard any sound at all? That's really weird. All right, hang on. That is really weird. Okay. They also just cut off their own sound. So let's go back a little bit then. I apologize. Try and figure out why we couldn't hear anything. All right, so we're going to be a little bit behind, but we don't want to miss it. So we're going to go back. All right, so this has to do with the devices that were being searched. Jeff Gehrman's devices that were being searched. There was litigation, as we discussed earlier today, and in the first hearing, in the first part that we did of this case. And this attorney wants Mr. Tellis to waive his right to any further searches of Gehrman's electronic devices. They just said that they turned over 64.5 gigs on a hard drive, and she wants him to waive any further searches. Let's just take this back. Hopefully you can hear it now. Tell me you can hear it now. I know there's no sound right now.
We have some information on both of those devices, but the state's
Can you hear it now?
belief is that if there was other potential, well, I guess if there's potentially exculpatory material on any of those devices, Mr. Tellis is opting not to challenge any of the privilege assertions. We have no idea what's in those, and he's opting not to do that on the phone and the computer.
How much information was turned over?
On the,
I'm just wondering, was it live?
I think Mr. Chavez is standing up, so he could probably give us kind of the gigabyte term.
Yeah, good afternoon, Your Honor. David Chavez on behalf of the Review Journal. So yeah, we dropped off a copy of the hard drive to both parties this morning. The hard drives contain a ton of information. I don't know the precise megabytes, but
Okay, the sound is working now. The sound is working now. We can stop talking about it in the chat. It's very distracting. Thank you. It is now working. Please forgive me. I'm so sorry. I don't know what happened, but it is now fixed. Thank you. Thank you so much. Here we go. Gum chewing again. You know, it's so funny because in her court rules, it specifically says there will be no gum chewing in my courtroom. I did rewind it. Okay, here we go.
But after cutting out all of the privileged material over which we're not waiving privilege, I think we have about like a little bit, like perhaps a third of the laptop still, and much of that information pertains directly to this case. And we contend that information is still privileged, but we have chosen to waive those privileges to further the parties' dispute.
Okay, the information relevant to this case.
That's correct, and we'll also note that we produced the phones.
I'll be sure and do that, Dan. Thanks for the tip. Just please check your chats in the future. Thanks for the tip. It's right next to me. Sometimes I get talking and I don't exactly see it, but thank you. Thank you so much for the tip.
Well, and the information from the search warrant as well. Months ago, obviously.
And I could say, with respect to the desktop computer download that they just turned over, it was 64.5 gigs.
Thanks, Sharon. Thanks so much for your tip as well. Oh, guys, this is how it goes. This is just people. It's beyond the adult behavior.
Thank you very much.
And parties are ready to proceed?
The state's ready to proceed. I would like the court to inquire of Mr. Tellis if he waives further access. We're happy to be excused if you want to have a discussion with him and his counsel about that waiver.
I think that probably would be appropriate, Your Honor.
And you think the state needs to basically sound that defense of the state?
I think that would be appropriate as well. Obviously, there should be some questions. And the state, I think their questions are appropriate. So I think you should canvass my client in reference to those.
Okay, so it appears that he is waiting those.
He is, yes.
All right, so the state will excuse themselves. Judge. Mr. Draskovich, do you want me to?
Okay, so now the
prefer,
sound
yes.
goes out on Law and Crime. See, this is what actually really happened in real life. It's like IRL.
I've advised my client, we did receive these materials today. We've outsourced this. We brought in an out-of-state expert to Manifest Trials who is in possession as part of our office, or part of our defense team, reviewing the materials turned over. My client understands that there will not be further analysis.
Now they cut out their sound, actually, because somebody actually told me that. That's real. As Munchell says, if you do not enjoy Madame Melanie, there are plenty of other subpar channels that will suit your mediocre taste more. Adios, amigo. Thank you so much. All right. Somebody put up the big straw hat because that's like. Hey. And this is the Law and Crimes sound that cut out. So we're going to see if they ever pick it back up. Perhaps they wanted to do this outside because they don't want the other side to know, since they're in the hall. They don't want them going back and watching YouTube later, maybe to find out what they talked about. I don't know. We're just going to fast forward it a little bit as we say, na 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 na. Hey, goodbye.
All right.
Now their sound is back, and we're only like a minute behind now. Yay!
Yes, ma'am.
Oh, somebody appreciates me. Thank you, my little cupcake.
Where's that, our first 65 panel?
They're being brought up from the top floor and lined up.
Sure. Okay, I'm sorry. All right, the record reflects that the state is back in the courtroom. Has been canvassed. I know we have a couple of motions before we bring the jury panel in. And I know the motion to dismiss, is there anything further?
It has been fully briefed. We've submitted it to Your Honor, so it will be submitted on the briefings.
I'll submit it on the pleadings, Your Honor.
Okay, the motion to dismiss is denied. The motion to eliminate, there are a few things in the motion to eliminate. The first one has to do with photographs. I would just defer any ruling until we have all of the photographs marked as proposed exhibits, and you can make your objections at that time.
That's what we anticipate. Thank you.
I mean, obviously you've seen them all.
We have.
Okay, and then the next one is admission of all testimonial confronted hearsay. Do you want to add anything?
Our position is fairly clearly laid out. The state's going to argue, and I would anticipate there being a special jury instruction that it's not the truth of the matter, that basically this would perhaps go to motive. But nonetheless, we've briefed our concerns in reference to this. Obviously, these articles contain hearsay information that is testimonial in nature, and based upon those bases, we're objecting to their admission.
So the state's position is we're not here to engage in a finding of whether or not what's alleged in the articles is true. We're just going to enter the articles themselves into evidence as indication of motive. We're not going, we'll have to discuss what the content is, because that is a basis of motive, but not whether what Mr. Gehrman wrote about Mr. Tellis was true.
Okay, and I know I indicated I would give it to Barnes instruction
Yes.
before that testimony comes in. So, Mr. Draskovich, I only gave it if you requested.
And obviously, we are going to request that instruction to give.
Okay, if you want to prepare it,
We will.
ready, I will give it before and at the end, when the jury is instructed on the law. The last one is the testimony of Kimberly Dannenberg. Anything you wanted to add?
We'll submit it on the briefing.
That's the witness testimony that we took.
That is correct.
All right, anything further?
No, Your Honor.
Okay. That part of it is denied. And D also has to do with the news articles. I'm assuming it's just, if you want to add anything.
We'll submit it on the briefing.
Okay. So it's denied. And the first one, the photographs, that will be deferred until all photographs have been marked, and you can make your objections at that time.
Thank you.
Is there anything else?
Not on behalf of the state.
Nor on behalf of the defense.
So you're ready to bring that first 65 in?
Sure.
Okay, I think you-
We just have to rearrange.
I don't know if they're going to televise the jury selection. We will see. We just heard 3 motions in lemonade. First was with regard to photos. She said she would defer her ruling on whether photos are coming in as they are introduced into evidence. They have already been marked. The second was the articles that Jeff Gehrman wrote about Rob Tellis that is the motive for this murder. And we looked at least one of those this morning. There are 4 in total. And the defense obviously wants them excluded because they think that they paint the defendant in a bad light. But the prosecution said, we're not offering these for the truth of what's in the articles, which would make them hearsay if that's why they were if that's why they were trying to introduce them into evidence for that purpose. We are introducing them into evidence to go to motive. And the judge agreed with them. That was overruled. And then there was another motion regarding a witness named Kimberly Dannenberg. I don't know who that is, but they've decided to submit papers on that. And I believe, or they did submit papers on that, and she's denied that motion. Skip ahead. The first panel is going to be 65 jurors. They've muted themselves right now, so we'll see what is going to happen. The door squeak is demonic. Oh, don't even tell me that's all we're going to get today. Maybe they're going to pull them in, and that's it. That's all we're getting. That's all we're getting. Oh, man. All right. Well, at least we got to hear a couple of motions. This is something totally different. So, Young Thug. This trial is still going on, this YSL trial. Has anybody been following that? Because I honestly have not. That trial been going on for like 10 weeks? Feels like that trial's been going on for a year. Maybe it is a year. Maybe it's longer. Pilgrim Shadow coming in with the Grateful Dead quote. And there were days, I know, when all we ever wanted was to learn to love and grow. That stays between, for those of you who know by the Grateful Dead. Thanks, mods, for all your hard work. And thank you, Pilgrim Shadow, for coming in with another Grateful Dead quote today and another 10 spot. Hi, Nina. Thank you so much for coming in and thanking me for covering this trial. I appreciate you so much. And Moon Goddess with the super sticker. Thank you. Shelby says, what? No sound from Long Crime. Yeah, they did cut it off. I mean, the first part, I don't know what happened, but I went back and replayed it, so we really didn't miss anything. Thank you so much for that. Thank you, moderators and Melanie. No sound in court. Thanks, Mrs. Dr. Edward Moskowitz. We got it. We figured it out. Thanks, Mrs. Mojo Rising with the super sticker. Look at the judge's scale behind her. It's got bling on it. Oh, it did? Oh, really? Wait a second. We might have to go back to that for a second. It just ended. Hold on. Let's see if we can find it. Oh, I'm very interested in that. There's a blingy thing. It's not letting me rewind it right now yet. Oh, wait. Okay, hold on. Oh, yes. It's the Scales of Justice with bling. Hold on. Her Scales of Justice have like chandelier crystals on it. I love it. I love that for her and for us.
The first one, the photographs, that will be deferred.
That's pretty awesome. See the Scales of Justice here? She's got her Evian bottle with some pink drink in it. Maybe it's Crystal Light. Thank you, Kimmy, for another Grateful Dead quote. Ripple in still water when there is no pebble tossed, nor wind to blow. Thank you so much. Appreciate you. All right, well, we're going to have to keep an eye on this and find out what's going to happen next, when this case is going to start with opening statements. We apparently will not be able to see jury selection. And that, he's such a smiley defendant, isn't he? He's so smiley. I don't know. I don't know about the charges dropped in the Canton Nine. Where can I find that? Is there a video on that? Hold on. Hold on 1 second. All right. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you, Scott, for telling me. And I wasn't looking at my phone because that never happens. All right. Well, 6 of the Canton Nine have letters that they are free. We're going to pull up one of those letters right now because we've got access. We've got people. We've got people who give us things. So if you're here, You're lucky enough to be here right now when we're going to pull up one of those letters and we're going to segue on over to the Karen Reed case for a moment. Because we can do that. We can pivot here. Very exciting. Sources are reporting that 6 out of the 9 have received letters that they are free. Here it is. Here's one of them. Look at this. It's like a little treasure hunt. Somebody said it's like a little treasure hunt. Thanks, Laura. Thanks for telling me. Here you go. Hold on. Let me get to see if I can make this bigger and better. I'm just going to quit today. I think I'm just going to quit because I just kicked myself out. So that's what happens. It's not a stream unless I kick myself out at least once during this stream. It happens. It's a thing with StreamYard and me and my mouse and, it's a Mac and it kicks me out. Well, here's the one notice to the parties. All right, and here is a notice to the parties. This says defendant copy, and it's Commonwealth versus Deanna McCorby. This is one of the Canton Nine. To the parties in this matter, on August 2nd, 2024, complaint denied, no probable cause found. That is really good news for the people of Norfolk County, Massachusetts. And then next to that, it says E. Donovan, CM. Up here, it says Police Department of Offenses, Canton PD. And that is what it says. It's a letter from the clerk. On August 2nd, 2024, the complaint was denied. No probable cause found. Bye-bye. Case dismissed, everyone. This is Deanna's. Interesting, huh? Not really. It sure took long enough. But you know what? August 2nd, it was found that there was no probable cause and the complaint was denied. That was 10 days ago. Why is this just hitting the airwaves now? I have questions. Why are they just sending? How slow is the mail out there? Let's see something here. Let's pull this up in a second. We've got some more stuff on Twitter. Aiden Carney, somebody sent me. Oops. Has tweeted, congrats to the Canton Nine who will not be charged with felony witness intimidation for peacefully protesting across the street from Chris Albert's mediocre pizza shop last November. They had their clerk's hearings in January, and although there was clearly no probable cause to charge them, they waited 7 months in order to keep them in limbo and scare them out of exercising their First Amendment rights by peacefully protesting again. So there's that. Another one who received the letter was Meredith O'Neill, who I believe is Aiden Carney's girlfriend, or Sigo, or something such as like that. Yeah, 9 months later, these people are sitting on pins and needles wondering if they're going to be prosecuted. And that's nuts, right? Yeah, of course they had to wait for the Karen Reed trial to be over. Yeah, of course, right? So obvious. If there's anything else that anybody sent me that we can talk about right now. For those of you who follow Aidan Carney, he goes over the timeline of things, and you can take a look at that. I'm sure he'll do that again soon. Diane says, thank you, Danielle. Whoop, whoop, way to go. So why can't it be the Canton 10 and have Karen in that? Who knows? I wonder how long it's going to take for the judge to rule on this motion about whether or not she's going to call the jurors back and question them about whether or not they actually acquitted her on counts 1 and 3, as at least 4 or 5 jurors have come forward to say that that is exactly what they did. And that's kind of crazy, right? Magnolia Gypsy says, yep, one was let go immediately because they were a minor, but the other 8 have been in limbo. That's interesting. Yep. While incurring large legal bills. Margaret says, yep. Wonder if there will be new protests in the same spot in the future. I don't know. I know that I'm sure that Mark Betterow is going to challenge the constitutionality of that statute. Maybe. One good thing to come out of the Karen Read case maybe will be that certain laws in Massachusetts will be changed. Perhaps the jury instructions will be changed and clarified. Perhaps they will start to allow readbacks in Massachusetts, which they do not do, which they do. I said do, which they do in New York. Mark and I were both practiced in New York, and we were both shocked when we learned that Massachusetts does not allow readbacks of trial testimony. We couldn't believe it. Apparently, they're one of very few states who do not allow it. And it's insane. And in other news today, according to Travis Williamson, our local Nevada or former Nevada counsel, the FDA rejects MDMA as treatment for PTSD. Oh, that's interesting. Haven't they already approved other things like mushrooms and other hallucinogens? And don't they use MDMA for other things? Or are you saying, I don't know, I don't know enough about that to opine on it. But that's interesting to me. Yeah. My Midnight Mike says, knowing Bev, it'll take months. Months. Yes, Maureen Francis agreed. None of the jurors who have come forward have disputed the claims of the others. None of them have said, that's not true. We did not reach an agreement to acquit on 1 and 3. Nobody has said that. That's interesting. And also, we found out that the Commonwealth actually did hear from 4 jurors. They didn't say when, but if they heard from them before the 12th when they filed their response saying this is BS, I got a problem with that. Rara Monty says, my guess Bev will do it after the Labor Day weekend. Yep, could be. And that is absolutely true. Her last words were, I'll take this under advisement. And she ran away. She had no questions for the attorneys, which was interesting. A lot of people think that she already had her mind made up and she just wants to go write it up. It's got to be a written decision in this case because whatever it is, it's going to be appealed. Whatever the decision is, it's going to be appealed. And that's why she put the trial date all the way into January because she said, well, I know there's going to be an appeal here. Karen Durst, I start my juror process in 2 weeks. Any words of wisdom? Not sure I'm looking forward to this. You should, Karen. It's a great, great experience. You absolutely should do it. I don't know where you're located. So I do think it's a very important service that everyone should do at least once. I would love to be a fly on the wall in a jury room, but I never get picked because I'm an attorney, because I usually know the attorneys that are picking the jury and they just tell me to leave. But I would love to serve on a jury. And I think that it's a very important duty. And I encourage people to go. Not everybody can serve on such a long trial because, look, the pay is crap. I think in Massachusetts, it's like what? I don't know. In Massachusetts, it might be like $45 a day. In New York, it's only $40 a day. In some states, it's like $15 a day. And some employers won't pay you while you're on jury duty. Some will. So that is interesting. Belinda, you must be way behind because we don't even have the court feed on right now. But thank you. Yeah, the sound was a little rough in the beginning, but we got it back. So I would agree that all of you should try and serve on jury duty. You're going to want to subscribe and you're going to want to hit the bell so that you're going to want to know when this trial is going to start. We will start with opening statements because we are not going to be able to watch jury selection. So keep an eye on X or Twitter and watch for, there are some KTLV reporters that will be tweeting, and there will be some other people, I'm sure, that will be tweeting so that you can be right. You'll have your finger on the pulse of when this trial is going to start. Maybe tomorrow, but let's see. Right now it is 1:40 p.m. The first panel they brought in was 65 people. I believe in Nevada they only get 4 peremptory challenges each under because it's a felony. They only get 4 each. And I don't know if it'll be done today or not. Probably not. Ohio is only $10, Andrew Marie. That's crazy. Travis is now in Texas. That's right. You're not from Texas. Love me some Lyle Lovett. And you're not from Texas. We allow readbacks in Texas, but the jury has to indicate there's a disagreement between jurors on testimony. They have to designate specific sections they have a dispute on. No, we want readback of X. Well, that's interesting because the trial that we just watched of Ashley Benefield in Florida, the jury came back and they said something like, I don't remember the exact words of the note, but they said, we want to know what this there was a doctor who gave an opinion who treated both Ashley and her deceased husband, Doug. And they said, we want to know whether during the doctor's testimony, he said that his opinions were based on things that Ashley told him or from his own observations. And the judge discussed it with the attorneys. And of course, the defense was saying, let them have a readback. And no, because they didn't say the magic words, we want to read back. They were just told, we can't give you any factual information. You're going to have to rely on your notes. They didn't like that either. It's like they needed the magic words. Here in California, it's like $15 a day, JoJo. That's crazy. Team Brittany says, I wonder if Telly's would pay his employees for jury duty. What do you think? What do you think? Nope. True crime kangaroos, like it's my dream to get picked for jury duty. I don't think so. I don't think they're going to happen today, CW. I don't think. I mean, I'll watch the feed, but I don't think so. If they do, I'll come back. But I don't think it's going to happen today. I mean, they're calling in 65 people. They're going to seat 12 because Nevada luckily has a 12-person jury, unlike Florida, which only had a 6-person jury because it wasn't a capital case. This is not a capital case either, but he will get a 12-person jury at least. But, you got to think that there's a lot of people in this county who may know of him, who may know who he is, who may know him personally because he was a public official. He was the public administrator of Clark County. And also, they may have opinions already about this case because it's a local story. It was highly publicized. So there's that. I don't think it'll get done today, but sometimes I'm wrong. Right? Is that right? In shock and horror. Can you provide any insight on how jury selection might work in SB case since she is pro se? See, that's fascinating to me. How will she know what to ask? There's a law library. And there are a lot of jailhouse lawyers who help other inmates with their problems and writing briefs and stuff. She's going to have to look up the rules. She's going to have to read about it. She's going to have to figure it out. So yeah, it should be interesting. They were given an initial jury questionnaire, and that's the initial screening. And then, well, it depends on the jurisdiction. So in in federal court, the judge picks the jury. The attorneys have no say. In certain states, the lawyers are allowed to ask questions, and some they're not. So she's going to have to weed out the people who hate her. And that's an interesting question. That is an interesting question. I don't know. You're having a voice delay. Sometimes if you refresh your browser, Jeanette, that can help. Just refresh your browser, and sometimes that fixes it for you. Laura says, Sarah's going to ask potential jurors if they promise that they'd be nice to her. Oh, thank you, Jay Rucker, for the intel on this. The Young Talk trial has been going on for 19 months. 19 months? That is insane. That is so insane. Isabel says in Idaho, they only pay jurors $5 and $10 for full days and get reimbursed for mileage. Oh, that is insane. $50 a day for juries after 3 days. Well, that's interesting. Thank you, Scott, for putting up my email. can't even tell you. Team Brittany, should I tell them about the email that I got earlier today that I sent to you and to Scott? Oh, it was wild. It was like, can you please? I don't even know. It's hilarious. Can you please buy a plane ticket for my son and bring him to me in Brazil? And I'll give you 11 acres of land if you do that for me. I mean, it was insane. It was insane. Oh, she says, no, don't say. It was like, do you ever get an email where somebody says like they have like an inheritance for you and all you have to do is wire them money or go out and buy them $17,000 in Apple gift cards? It was kind of like that. Yeah, it's crazy. It is crazy the things that go on here. All right. Well, thanks for keeping it classy. It was only an hour long today, so I don't know if anybody else has got some pressing questions. I thought we were going to get like at least like 2 hours out of this afternoon stream. We did a morning stream this morning where we did a part 2 of okay. You want me to, okay, so team Brittany, I sent her the email that I got and then she said to me, all right, this is funny. She goes, this reminds me of one I got a while back telling me that my uncle Daniel had passed away in some part of Africa and left me this hidden $10 million inheritance. And they needed, quote, transfer fees first by money wire. So I wrote the guy back and I told him how elated I was. And I wanted the money that day instead, since our whole family was coincidentally in Africa for an FBI mission training academy exercise. We'd already located his IP and we would arrive by helicopter to pick up the cash. I told him we always hated Uncle Daniel anyway because he never finished his vegetables and that I'd give him a bigger cut of the money if he'd wait outside for the helicopter, and thanked him again and told him to watch for a big helicopter in an hour. She's like, yes, I was bored that day. Very, very funny. Went on to write this person a 16-page email. And oddly enough, never heard back. So that is funny. That is Team Brittany for you. That is her sense of humor. She's awesome and she's brilliant and she keeps it classy around here. And it was epic. It's epic. He's not representing himself anymore now. He has an attorney. We watched this today. You might be interested in this because it's got everything. It's got all the things. It's got a judge that is kind of like Cyndi Lauper or a 90s Madonna, and she's awesome. And it's got a defendant who kind of looks like Boss Baby, and he was nicknamed Boss Baby by his disgruntled employees. But because they worked for the county, he couldn't fire them. But he came into office. He was a public administrator. He's also a lawyer. People hate lawyers. He was dressed up. Well, whoever killed this reporter. So this reporter wrote a bunch of articles about this guy, the defendant, Rob Tellis. And the articles were not so flattering. In fact, the first article that he wrote of 4 outed him having an alleged affair with a coworker, that the ladies in the office set up a camera and got some footage of them coming out of the back seat of the other woman's car. And he claimed in a jailhouse interview that, listen, we just went to that place and had meetings in the backseat of her car because it was private. She was my confidant. And so there's that. And then, of course, the prosecution's alleging that because of that, Rob Tellis stabbed Jeff Gehrman, the reporter, 7 times in his driveway in broad daylight. But he disguised himself in a costume, a giant straw hat, orange reflective shirt, jeans, gloves, the whole thing. And of course, when the police got a search warrant, they found a cut up straw hat in his house. And also they found a cut up sneaker and a duffel bag. Also, he's carrying a duffel bag. And also they found his DNA underneath the fingernails of the deceased Jeff Gehrman. So it's going to be a great trial. Unfortunately, we're not going to have it today. There was no sound in the beginning. The sound came back. Don't worry. If you're behind, Estrella, you will catch up. But you can't hear me now if you're behind anyway, so that doesn't really matter. Okay. That was a wasted conversation with someone who's behind. I'm sorry, Estrella. You'll when you catch up, you'll hear my analysis of that. So, as always, thank you so much for being so kind and classy this afternoon. And Sarah Shaganar gifting 10 memberships. And to all of you in the chat who received those gifted memberships, you can thank Sarah and Schwach and Hara for being so generous. Yep, there are freedom of the press and free speech issues and confidentiality of sources for reporters. All good things in all good time. Thanks to everybody. Hit the like button so it pushes out the stream. I'll let you know. So be sure you have your notifications set when we're going to go back for opening statements. And who knows where I may wind up tonight on someone else's show. I'll post that too if I do. The Glare and I had a great show last week. It's like 3.5 hours long. It felt like 10 minutes. It was funny. We had great banter. If you didn't watch that, it's on my community page, or just go over to the Glare's channel and you'll see my face on one of his thumbnails, and you should go watch it. I highly suggest. Very funny. And Oblivious Benson is also great. Yeah, I'm trying to entertain. That's all. That's all I can do. That's all we can do is keep each other laughing, right? Get each other through the dark times, my friends. There's some dark times out there, but not here. That's right. Robert's ADHD. He was distracted from disposing of the evidence. But you know what? That's so funny that you say that, Robert, because he cut that sneaker up into like little tiny pieces, like 100 pieces. And they all look like they're like the same size. It was crazy. So crazy. Thank you. Thank you for that. The Glare show. That was a lot of fun. Best chat anywhere. I agree. But listen, when the bullies come in, we gotta let them go. Jadzia, right? We gotta just give them a boarding pass and send them on their way because we don't know. We ain't no time to hate. Thank you, my friends. Love you. Love you, mods. Love you, members. Love you, viewers, replay viewers. Hit the thing. Do the thing. Push the stream out. Be cool. Be kind. Be classy. So not hard. So not hard. I'm gonna see you real soon. Have a great rest of your evening. Good night.